Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing 10 best books I read in 2025. Before we begin, what you need to know is that these books are in no particular order. I will not compare them, I will not defend my choices, because this would be like an emotional torture. Because choosing only 10 books within all the amazing stories I read in 2025 was already hard enough. Also, I can't even say I enjoyed all of these books. I enjoyed some, but not all of them because my main criteria was not how entertaining the book was. These books changed me as a reader. Book number one, The Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. I don't know even how to explain what this book did to me. I loved everything about it. The love triangle, the drama, the mystery, the English setting. It's been a while since I've been that obsessed with a book. Also, this was my first book by the author, but definitely not the last one. I love this book, highly recommend it. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. What can I say that has not been said already? This book is exactly as good as everyone says it is. The story is set during the Second World War and follows two sisters. And you can see actually what happens during wars from female perspective. And I love that this book reminded me that the fact that you are not fighting on the battlefield does not mean you're not fighting the battle. Actual female stories during wars often get overlooked. And there were so many women who were fighting so hard to keep their families alive during the Second World War. So this book is amazing. The Nightingale sparked once again my love in historical fiction, and in 2026, I want to read way more historical fiction novels than I did in 2025. 10 Minutes 38 Seconds by Elif Shafak. And here it's different because the discovery itself was not the book, it was the writer. Elif Shafak writes in a way that is vivid, beautiful. It feels like an ancient carpet from 1001 Nights. If you like beautiful writing with heartbreaking topics, Elif Shafak is your writer. She's a British-Turkish novelist, so most of her books are connected to Turkey, to its layered history, to religion, to traditions, to beliefs. So I've actually learned a lot from this book as well. Yes, and don't forget that this book was shortlisted for the Booker Prize, so it's considered one of her most devastating reads. The Beartown by Frederick Bachman is now one of my all-time favorite series. This one took me by surprise. The book is set in a small town where everyone is obsessed with hockey, so just from the summary, it shouldn't have worked for me, but oh my god, the humanity in this book, the characters, the writing, the story. I loved every moment of reading the Beartown series. So at times, I felt like I was living in the Beartown myself while I was reading this book. Book number one ends with a cliffhanger, but the book number two in the series, it has a gentle closure. So this one is book number three, the one I still haven't read. Not because I do not want to, but because the first two books were so good that I just do not want this series to end, like ever. So I'm holding this book off because I know it's going to be amazing and it's waiting for the right moment. Quick honorary mention, Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, also by Frederick Bachman. This one deserves my therapy bill. I'm not including this one in top 10 because this is a short novella, but it's brilliant. And I don't remember ugly crying that much in a while, so highly recommend it if you like books that destroy you emotionally. The Promise Set Down by Remengary. If I could travel back in time and recommend one memoir to my younger self, it would be this book. This book actually feels like fiction, but at the center of the story is author's relationship with his mother. She had such a loud personality. She argued with teachers who dared to criticize him, and she believed in his greatness. And it was definitely a burden for him. But everything she envisioned for him came true. I know I've said I won't compare the books, so there is no particular order, but this is like top three, if not one. This is an epic book. I will read it again in a few years, I'm sure. Loved it, highly recommend it. Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I've seen this book gets mixed reviews, but I'm definitely on the loved it side. This was such a unique story, one of the best literary fiction novels I read in a while. I loved everything about this book. The lonely natural setting, the touch of drama, thriller, and even romance. It all worked for me in this book. In the beginning, it was actually slow, but the final twist, I was like, oh my god, what? So yes, I love this book. I have it in Spanish, but it's available in English as well. By the way, all the books will be in the description, so you can just check the titles as well. The Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. Oh my god, this book. Have you ever read the book where you do not like the summary, you do not like the genre, you don't like the plot, you don't like the main character, but when you close it, it's like 5 stars. Because this is a book about someone who writes a book about the creator of the atomic bomb. And when I read this, I was like, oh my god, give me a break. I can turn on the news. But this was so good. This is one of the books where every chapter has quotes where you're like, oh my god, this is so deep and I need to write this down. So the wisdom and the irony of Kurt Vonnegut, I assume in all of his books, are unmatched. So I'm definitely reading more of Kurt Vonnegut in 2026. Thirst for Love by Yukio Mishima. This book was such a slow start for me. I was convincing myself to read it. This book felt like poetry because it was so unique, so slow paced, so unusual, full of beautiful descriptions. But the ending of this book, probably, I don't know, last 20% of this book, oh my god, shocking, disturbing. My hands were shaking. It was 3 a.m. and I could not put this book down. This is actually why I try to read Japanese literature and authors from around the world, because my Western trained brain expect certain things, and when I read books by Western writers, I sometimes like know where the story goes. But with the Japanese, every time I finish a Japanese book, I'm like, uh-huh, so this is what the story was about. This is crazy. And what is also really humbling is that Yukio Mishima wrote this book when he was 25. But the emotional depth, the insights in this book are way beyond most people lifetime reach. So highly recommended, and I will be reading more by Yukio Mishima in 2026 for sure. The Sweetness of Forgetting by Kristen Harmel. This is another book I loved. I think I read it in 2 days. This is a great read for fans of historical fiction. Part of the story is set in the United States, but part of it, the one with the secrets, will take you to Paris during the Second World War. But the love story in this book, oh my god, it's so heart-touching, heartbreaking. Love this. Highly recommend this one. Heaven Has No Favorites by Erich Maria Remarque. Remarque is one of my all-time favorite writers. This was actually a reread because I read this book almost 15 years ago, and I loved it back then, and I loved it now. Remarque is one of my all-time favorite writers. I think I read probably 4 or 5 of his books. The only reason I have not read all of the books by Remarque is that there are not that many of them. Around 12 novels. So I refuse to live in a world where I don't have a new Remarque book waiting for me. I have this book in Russian. It's actually hard to find books by Remarque in English. Beyond All Quiet on the Western Front, that one is available. So if you speak German or Russian, you can get really nice editions of Remarque because his books are really popular in post-Soviet countries. But for some reason, even here in Europe, it is hard to find his books in other languages. So these were my top 10 books of 2025. Let me know in the comments if you've read any books that stayed with you this year and you can recommend them. Or maybe one of these books is on your reading list. Thanks for watching and see you next week.